This is a quick little video on how to create a formula for a pattern, since that's what you're supposed to be doing for homework tonight. We talked about how in nature, flowers and leaves and many other things come out in very predictable ways. We know what's going to happen next, just like in the picture you see below. But how does that happen when we have these stacked building blocks? So I'm going to go through it step by step and then help you with the first problem on your homework, and then hopefully you can do the rest. So the first thing you need to do is identify the value of y by counting. Well, that should be easy. So in the first one, when x is 1, I count 5. Let me make that red so it stands out. There it is. And when x is 2, I count 7. When x is 3, I count 9. So that's the very first thing you do is you count. Second thing you do is find the value of y if x equals 0. So that way I go backwards. So if I start at 4, y is 11, then it goes to 9, then it goes to 7, then it goes to 5. So the next one, of course, would be 3. 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. This is an important number. We'll save that for later. The next thing you do is look for a pattern for how y increases. So we've already found that this one is a 3. From 3 to 5, it increases by 2. From 5 to 7, by 2. It's predictable. I could guess what the next one was without much effort. 13, of course. Now, that's an important number. Now I've got two important numbers. The next thing I do is I use these two numbers to help me create a formula. So here's my 3 and here's my 2. How can I use a 3 and a 2 to figure out what y equals? Every time I do this, of course, I have to put x in there. So let's try it with 0. How do I go to 3? I want y to equal 3. So we'll do that here. And I have a 0 and a 2. I can't add 0 plus 2. What can I do to this so that y will equal 3 if 0 equals 1? Well, I could multiply x times 0. So x, that's 0, times 3, I can put a little dot there, times 2, and then add the 3, would get me 3. So 0 times 2, so order of operations, you do this first. 0 times 2 is 0. Add a 3, I get 3. Does that work to get the 5? So let's try that over here. Does 5 equal, and instead of a 0, I'm going to put a 1, times the 2, and then add the 3. 1 times 2 is 2, plus 3, yep, that equals 5. So if you can do that a couple times in a row, you know you have the formula. So now I'm going to, instead of using numbers, I'm going to replace the numbers that change with my variables. This 0 here, this 1 over here was what was changing. So that would be my x. What did I do to x? I multiplied it by 2. Then every single time I added 3. That was my formula, 2x plus 3. Okay, now let's go to the next step, 5. I'm going to use that formula, 2x plus 3, to fill in the rest of them. This is what we did during class today. So we said 2 times 0 plus 3 equals 3. 2 times 1 plus 3 equals 5. 2 times 2 plus 3 equals 7. 2 times 3 plus 3 equals 9. 2 times 4 plus 3 equals 11. Then I'm just going to write out my coordinate pairs, the x and the y, just like this. That's the easy part. 2, 7, 3, 9, and 4, 11. Okay, so now my table is filled in. And then the last thing I do is plot this on a graph. So we had, the first one was 0, 3. So we went over none, 0 on the x, but we went up the y, 1, 2, 3. So we put a little dot right there, and we labeled that dot 0, 3. Then the next one was 1, 5, over 1, up 5, 1, 5. The next one was over 2, up 7. And of course that's now, if as long as you have 2 or 3 of them, you know that you have a straight line. And then you take your ruler and you draw a straight line through them, and you're done. So now we're going to do the exact same thing for your homework with the first set. All right, set 1A looks something like this on your paper. Step 1, count them up. There are 3 here. There's 6 here. There's 9 there. Now I can fill in my table. We don't have 0, so I'm going to start with 1. If x equals 1, y equals 3. If x equals 2, y equals 6. If x equals 3, y equals 9. And you can pretty much guess that the next one, if x equals 4, y equals 12. Let's go back to 0. If I go backwards, y is going to be 0 when x is 0. Which means that if you plug in your formula, which we said y equals 2x plus 3, we can apply it just like we did before. So 2 times 0 plus 3. I'm sorry. I just made a mistake. I was doing the old one. So let me erase that. Wrong formula. All right, so the next step, which I just skipped, was create the formula. So I identified this, and I went back to y equals 0. So I know I'm going to have a 0. And then here's what I skipped. Got this 0, and I've got this 3 here, this positive 3. So what am I going to do with 0 and 3 to get from 1 to 3? Well, if I add 3, I'm going to get 4, not 3. So why not multiply? So if I multiply 3 times 1, I get 3. If I multiply 3 times 2, I get 6. 3 times 3, 9. 4 times 3, 12. So there we go. I found my formula. So the formula is y equals 3x plus 0, plus nothing. I don't add anything to it. Now you can write y equals 3x. That's fine. But you need to know that even though you don't write plus 0, it still is true. You're adding nothing to it. Okay, then we apply this. So this would be 3 times 0 plus 0. This would be 3, whoops, erase that. 3 times 3 plus 0. 3, I'm sorry, obviously not paying attention to what I'm doing. So this was supposed to be a 1, wasn't it? Okay, 3 times 1 plus 0 is 3. This is 3 times 2 plus 0. 3 times 3 plus 0. 3 times 4 plus 0. There you go. That looks a little better. This is 0, comma 0, which means when I plot it, it's going to be right there. That's my first dot, 0, 0, 0, comma 0. My second is 1, comma 3, over 1, up 3, 1, comma 3. The next one is 2, 6, over 2, up 6, 2, 6. And of course you can see the pattern, over 3, up 9. And I'm out of space, so I can't put any more, but you can put one more, which will be 4, comma 12. And then you draw your line straight through it. Not like, please don't freehand it like I did. Use a ruler, but I don't have a ruler that works on here, so, and I'm out of time. So hopefully that was under 5 minutes. We went over everything we did in class, and we did the first problem for you. Hopefully you can do the rest of the problems. And do the best you can, and we will go over them tomorrow. See you later.